Hi there. Welcome to this brief tutorial on setting up an ICEcast station using iCast 2. Before we get underway, you will need to have either subscribed to an ICEcast hosting provider or set up your own ICEcast server. Most of you would have subscribed to a hosting provider, wherein they will have sent you the configuration parameters to connect to your station. Make sure you have this information to hand whilst working through this tutorial. Now let's get started. Click on Settings, followed by Stations, Add Station, ICEcast. Now you're required to enter in your host. Again, this information would have been provided by your hosting provider. We're going to enter our IP address of our test server. The port and the mount specified on this page reflect the defaults for ICEcast. You would not normally need to change these settings unless advised by your hosting provider or if you have set up your own ICEcast server. Now click on Next. Now enter your station name. This is a name you have chosen for your station. This information is actually published to your listeners. For the purpose of the tutorial, we have just entered in my station. We'll now go and enter in the genre, website URL, and the description. The genre is an important field here, as this is actually published to the internet and is searchable by your listeners. If a listener is looking for stations that play rock, they will search for rock, and if you have specified a genre of various, they may not actually find you. We're going to use the genre of rock. You may not in fact have a website URL, but for the purpose of this tutorial, we're just going to key in one. Now we're going to enter the description of our station. Now click on Next. We now need to select the codec we wish to actually use. AAC Plus in this case is a great codec, gives you a relatively small packet size, great for listeners on mobile devices. We've selected AAC Plus, we're going to select stereo, 44.100 kHz and 32 kilobits per second. Now click on Done. We're now prompted for the username, which is currently set for our default of source being the username for our server. This again would have been provided by your hosting provider, and we will also enter in the password. Again, this is the server password for our own internal testing server. Now click on Save. iCast 2 is now actually going through some connection checks. You'll note here that the internet connection is shown as green, meaning we can get out to the internet. The host name lookup is green, meaning that it has actually found a host with that name. But it's also said that it can't reach the host nor can it authenticate, because those items are shown in red, indicating there is something not quite right with this information. What we can do at this point is go back and check these details. So we'll click on Back. We'll click on Cancel for the login. We'll click on Station. Then Server. The first thing to do here is to check the IP address. or your host name. In this case, I've noted here that we've got 102 for the host name, where I had intended typing in 192. So let's go and change that detail now. Now I've just confirmed by looking at that again that I have now entered those details incorrect. Any further parameters that we specified are actually remembered, so we can just quickly move through the rest of these screens. We'll click on Next, Next, Done, and Save. Now it's gone back to the connection check screen where you can see everything is now indicated in green. Again, meaning it could find an internet connection, could find the host name, the host was actually reachable, and it was able to authenticate using your username and password to the host. So all is looking good at the moment. Now click on Done. You'll now see my station listed under the stations. To use this station, I'll now need to click on it. And now it's actually highlighted. I can go to Back and iCast, and you can see towards the bottom left-hand corner of that screen, the station selected is My Station. Let's now try and connect to it by using the slider down the bottom. When you slide to connect, if the On-Air button remains on, it means you have actually successfully connected to your station and you are broadcasting. This concludes the iCast tutorial. We hope it helps you get started with iCast 2. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as we will be uploading more tutorials, and if you have an idea for a tutorial that you would like to see, please send us an email via our website.